For this episode, I know that some will have a hard time accepting this, but if you really keep an open mind, you'll figure out that it is true. Now we're going to start digging into what this channel is actually here to explain. So buckle up, it's going to be heavy. Here is a real situation that I responded to yesterday. I've been dating someone and I am head over heels in love. I adore him. Now I want you guys to underline, I am head over heels in love. Underline, I am head over heels in love. I adore him. But he lately seems to be holding back and not being receptive. I've tried to talk to him about it and he says he just doesn't feel he can give me the time that I want or deserve because of personal things that he has to deal with, including 2 children from a previous marriage, of whom he has sole custody. I'm completely heartbroken. I love those children and I've been taking care of them myself as well, as if they belong to me. I've texted him now for us to just get together over dinner and talk this through, and he hasn't responded and it's been 5 hours. So now I'll wait and I'll text him again tomorrow, as I know that we can get along and we can get through anything together. I already love those kids and I enjoy taking care of them like they were mine, and they also get along with my own kid. Now here's what I know this lady should do in this case. Honestly, she should not ask him to sit down to talk through it. It'll be tidier instead if she lets him go and then lets him know instead that she can see that he's unsure, that even though she would love the relationship to go on, she will let him go. She will let him be. And you see, it's the same thing as going to talk it over with him to understand why. In the sense that you already know that he wants to put a break on this thing. And now you give him the chance and the understanding that you really are ready to go ahead, that you love him and that you care very much for him and the children. And the reason it's much better to do it the way that I'm suggesting is you give him that escape that he's asking for, because now he won't feel that pressure of continuing it if he really didn't want to by himself. But you don't know what his reasons are. But obviously there is a reason, and there is a valid reason why he's holding back. Right? We have to try to not invalidate other people's reasons, and you'll soon understand why. Because what we do when we do this extra thing of let me show them that I really love them, is that the person may just buckle. They may just buckle under that pressure because they can seriously see how much it means to you and they just don't want to let you down. And so they may buckle and continue the relationship. But now it is not because they've chosen it themselves. It is because of you. They're doing it for you. They're doing it because they're not strong enough to resist and say no to you because they don't want to hurt you. Or they're doing it because maybe they're a person who actually wants to take advantage of you, and now they know that they have you in their palm. It could be any reason, but let's just go with because they're doing it because they don't want to hurt you. So what you've now done is that you've colored the relationship as your relationship. You have now given it a title. This relationship is yours. It's not a relationship that belongs to both of you. It's yours. And so subconsciously, you'll both be operating from there henceforth. You will find yourself doing any and everything to make sure that they're assured of your love. And that is good because that is what we do when we love someone, right? But what the problem is in this scenario is that because it isn't something that they were already ready for, because it's a relationship that they entered into for your sake, whatever it was that was bothering them before still has not disappeared. It still hasn't been resolved. It's still there. And this is why I want us to understand that they aren't always being selfish when they behave as if they don't care about you or about the relationship, if this is the way that the relationship started. It is not always selfishness. We have to understand that every human being has a life. They had a life before they met us. They had their own experiences and they have things to resolve. And if you get into a relationship with someone who still has something to resolve while they're still trying to resolve this thing, particularly after they've tried to extract themselves, and you are the one who continued to make sure that the relationship didn't end, now they have no choice after they get back with you but to continue trying to resolve whatever it was that they were trying to resolve. And this is one of the reasons why in that video where I said allow people to, I don't remember, I'm going to put it here. When I'm editing, I'll put the picture here so that you can know that video. That's why I say that it's not about you yet. I say it's not about you. There is something going on that they need to resolve because they had a life before they met you. I mean, even twins who were born and who lived together in the same stomach, in the same belly before coming out, have a life, an individual life for each person, an independent life. And they have things that they're facing that they need to take care of. And so it's not always about you. Sometimes it could be something to do with you, but many times it's not about you. It's something in their life that they need to take care of. And without taking care of that thing, they just cannot come to you whole. And you are thinking that you can solve it. Allow them to be the ones who choose whether your presence can solve it or not. If they don't choose it themselves, they will never see this thing as something that they're taking ownership of. It's always going to be something that they're doing for you. When you continue to make sure that the relationship doesn't end, they have no choice but to continue trying to resolve whatever it was that they were trying to resolve. Now, would you really want to deprive them of resolving that thing? And even if you wanted to, you can't. Not only can you not deprive them of it, you will now become the antagonist. You'll now become the antagonist. And this is why it is selfish of us to encourage people to stay with us when it looks like they really don't want to stay. If we really love them, the right thing to do will be to let them determine the best way that they want to choose to resolve their thing. And if they feel that they will do it best with you, then they will choose that. But if you force their hand, then you will have yourself to blame when you end up investing so much and they still leave. I cannot count personally the number of times that this has happened to me. Maybe I can count. Okay. I recall vividly the last one. This guy went as far as telling me that he knows that I care about him and I just don't want to admit. And that he's the best thing that can happen to me now. And he knows this because he's ready to do any and everything for me. But the funny thing is, when you leave someone alone, they might go away on their own and have time to think about you and think about what it would be to be in a relationship with you. But he wouldn't give me the chance to even think. He got to a point where he actually asked me if he was contacting me too often. And I said, yes, you are contacting me too often. And the reason, I was just being honest. And the reason is because he never even gave me a chance. Before I would have the chance to think about what had happened at our last encounter or anything, there he was again. He would appear again. He didn't give me the chance to even miss him, to even think, spend any time to think about what it would be like to be in a relationship with him and what it would be like to not be in a relationship with him. Because here is the truth. You actually want to be in a relationship with someone that you feel like it doesn't feel good to not have this person. But when you haven't given someone a chance to actually even think this, to get to a point where they realize this, do you know that you're now operating from a different place? When you're bombarding them and it's like they have no choice but to choose you, they actually subconsciously know that it's like, I had no choice. So give people a chance. When you give people a chance and they now decide, I actually want this person, they are coming into it with ownership of this thing. This is something that they want to work. So it'll hurt so much more when, after all, you invest all the time and effort and then they still end up leaving. It'll hurt so much more. And then you turn around and say, oh, after all I did for him, oh, they're so ungrateful. Or the new word that everybody is using, oh, they're narcissists. They're so selfish. They only think of themselves. They're only self-serving. Or sometimes we remain begging for them to not leave because now we've invested so much and we're continuing to invest more and more because we want that return on that investment. Subconsciously, it now becomes the sunk cost fallacy thing. You know, surely you must see what is happening here. This is the true meaning of if you love something, you let it go. And then they can then determine by themselves to come back to you. And by the time they're coming back to you, by this time, the understanding is already made in their mind or subconsciously that they're best resolving this problem with you in the picture. This then means that the relationship then becomes a relationship for both of you and not your relationship, which is what it would be if they chose to remain because you made it happen. So you see the underlying difference there. Subconsciously, when they choose it by themselves, it is a relationship for both of you. It is you both's relationship. But when they choose it because you made it happen, you quote and unquote pressure them into it unconsciously, subconsciously. They're entering it as your thing. It's your relationship that they're coming into and they're doing it because of you. And this is why people get into struggle of. So both people are now in struggle of from both ends. And you're carrying the burden of keeping it alive because it is you that it matters to. And for them, they continue to want out because they still have that problem. Remember, they still have that problem that they want to solve. And even sometimes you hear them referring to breaking up or divorcing. And instead of still hearing them, what you do instead is that you complain that they are threatening, that they're always threatening to leave. Of course they want to leave, but they're not threatening to leave. They want to leave because that problem that they have is still fundamental to them, and it's still there. And they're a human being, and there's something that they're not comfortable with, and they need to resolve it. It's not about you now. I said it, yeah, sometimes it's about you, but let's think of when it's not about you. Because many times it's something that is outside of you, and they need to resolve it. And sometimes what keeps people holding on is because they're thinking in the first place, this person came to me. Maybe in the case of a man and a woman, the woman is thinking in the first place, this man pursued me. He pursued me. Yes, he pursued you. At that time, maybe he was ignoring that issue that he had, and he was looking at you. He found you attractive, and he found you interesting. But you see, after a while, that issue that hasn't been resolved is still not resolved, will still be there, bothering him and coloring their life, and they still need to take care of it. So if you can also remember that, yeah, he was the one who chased me. Now he's the one who is stepping back. Because my goodness, he's thinking, my goodness, I cannot go on without resolving this thing. So you need to allow them to be a human being. But when you don't do that, and we just keep on complaining that they're always threatening to leave, what we're now essentially doing is that we've trapped another human being into something that they don't really wholeheartedly want. And in the bigger picture, you must see that it's like now you're playing God in their life. You're determining for them what their life should be now. This is why sometimes you find that they feel so frustrated because they feel trapped by you. And you know, this is actually also one of the ways by which people get into that ride or die mentality, or to the extent where people actually decide that they're ready for an open relationship because they've given so much to this. They've thrown everything they have at it, and they just want to see it win. They want to see that they get that, they recoup that return on investment. That's again the sunk cost fallacy thing. And so they're ready to just do anything to keep this person because they've already given so much. They've given their dignity. They've given so much already. And at this point, they feel like there is no turning back. And the other person also feels like, this person has sacrificed so much. So instead of leaving them, let me still have the life that I really want. And so they begin this open relationship, and they can actually live the life that they want while satisfying this other person. And then they decide that they can justify it that way. But you see, we both know that this isn't authentic. We know that the moment that we're not living as we want in that relationship, that we're doing things because of the other person, there is always that silent frustration. And so this is never a good thing. It will never, ever, ever work. It works in the sense that your relationship lasts, but then do you actually like that relationship? If you had to do life over, if you will tell yourself the truth, if you could do this without anybody remembering your past and everything that you sacrificed already, is this the relationship that you actually want? This is what we'll have to be asking ourselves. And in fact, the funny thing is, I had made this recording in the morning, and I hadn't edited it yet before I went online and I saw someone had made a post like this. You see where I say I made a video exactly like this, and I'm going to add this. So this is actually a very good thing to insert into this episode, into this video, so that you can drive the point home, because I believe that all of us know the story we've heard about this couple. Not sure if those things are true, but you can see these things actually happening in reality. Let that sink in. So let's never help people to change their minds to stay with us. It's not a good foundation at all. As we speak right now, I have over 65 messages. I have so many messages of one-sided relationships that still eventually ended later, rather than letting them end when they had initially seen that handwriting on the wall. So going forward, I will begin to read these messages. And if you have experienced this, Just send me yours so that others can learn. And that is actually what brought me to creating this channel. Because we're not realizing how we're removing the likeness of God from ourselves. We're allowing other people to play God in our lives. We are playing God in other people's lives. And we're doing these things the wrong way. So send me your own message if you've been in this type of thing, so that others can learn. And then you can find the channel email when you click more on the link that I will leave below this video. And I'll also leave the email in the comments. Right now, of course, it's a new video. There are no comments right here. But just in case when the comments have built up, I'm going to pin that comment at the top with the email so that you can write me and let me have yours as well, so that we can read these things out. Let's save ourselves these things. You see, sometimes it actually happens after years and years of investing time. But it's unfair to think that someone is going to, or that they should suspend their own needs for our sake. Let me ask you, actually, is that really love? Not really. That's why I say that sometimes we think we're doing something good and we think, I know that I'm the best person for this person because no one else is going to love them like I would. And I would even give my life for them. But this is what is good for them. I know that I am the best person for them. But you see, in actual fact, you're wrong. You are simply not seeing that it is selfishness, because you're pushing out that person's own needs and putting your own needs first. And I am sorry, I know that it hurts, but it's better to clean it up ASAP. You know, when we're deeply involved in something, sometimes some people have a hard time seeing things clearly and they just want to see things as they would prefer. But what you prefer isn't going to change what the facts actually are. So it takes others pointing out the other side sometimes. And so the suggestion that I make here is, it's such that it doesn't ask you to give up the relationship without giving it a chance to possibly remain. It doesn't. What I have asked you to do is to tell them exactly how you feel, and also at the same time, you give them the opportunity to give the relationship a chance. Remember what I said. Let me go back to what I said initially that you should do in this situation. Right? I said, don't ask him to sit down to talk things through. It's better instead to just let him know that you can see that he's unsure, and that even though you really want this relationship to go on, that you will love it to go on, you will let him be. Because you know that there are things that he needs to deal with, and you want what is best for him. Do you see that this gives both of you the opportunity to not close the door on the relationship? You haven't done that when you offer it this way. When you use this approach that I've suggested here. So what you've simply done is that you've given them the chance to go solve what it is that is bugging them. And now they also know, because you've told them directly how much you love them and how much you care about them and how much you want the relationship. But you also know that it's important for them to resolve whatever it is that they need to resolve. And you can go ahead and also tell them that you would love to help them at any time, at any point that they feel that you can help, that you'll be here for them. You're right here. The relationship doesn't go on, doesn't mean that you switch off your love for them. So now you've given yourself the opportunity to express all this to them, and now they can go away. You've given them complete freedom. They can go away and decide now whatever they want to decide. Resolve it, whether they think they can resolve it without you or with you, it's up to them. So now you are not trapping them into being with you. They make a choice by themselves. You've let them know that you want what is best for them, and you will let them have that freedom that they seem to want. And once you've done that, the ball is now in their court. And if it happens afterwards that the relationship continues, now this is you now both owning your relationship. It's now you both's relationship, which is a better foundation than one going in like a chicken standing on one leg, you know? Because in that type of relationship, even your Energy will be as one who is unsure, and that means that you won't always move confidently in the relationship, which also colors the relationship in every aspect. It just can't be a full-fledged relationship, because even when they're not doing something that you don't like, you can't really speak your mind, because you know that you cajole them into this relationship. And so you're always going to be careful, because after all, you don't want to upset them. You don't want to be like you're demanding from them in this thing that you brought them into, because you don't want them to feel like, oh, now I have to do things that I don't want to do. So you're going to be quiet. You're going to quieten your own needs. And you also want to keep proving to them how much you love them and how much of the best you are the best for them. And if you're the best for them, that means you're not going to be trouble for them. So you see, what type of relationship is this going to really be? And when they want something, you're going to be contorting yourself to whatever it is that they want, because your role now is to always please them, because you want to encourage them to see that they made the right choice. You want to encourage them to see that you love them infinitely, that your love for them is as large as the whole world, and that this is the best thing that could have ever happened to them. It's just, you see, this is a stressful relationship. It doesn't work. And that's why people are always feeling frustrated in these struggle relationships. It's just all wrong. It's never worth it. It's never worth it. You'll be walking on eggshells. And even sometimes, you know, for someone to succumb to this, they may be the type who want to make the next person happy as well. And so they may not, sometimes when they need something, they may not be able to tell you, because they don't want to feel like they're putting you under pressure just because they don't want it to be like they're making you do things. So it just means that these two people can now not be themselves. So it's frustrating. And at the end of the day, somebody's going to get tired of it. It could even be you who gets tired, because you realize that the relationship is not authentic. Because somebody always has to suppress themselves. Somebody always has to keep away a part of themselves, because they don't want the other person feeling the burden. Or you see, if it's a relationship that both of you entered on equal grounds, you will know that it belongs to you. This is your thing. And you'll know that you both chose this, and you'll know that you're both there. You're committed to each other, and you're committed to making this thing work. You're ready to give compromises. You both know that you're both ready to compromise. But you cannot pressure someone into something and then also expect them to always be ready to compromise. You cannot pressure someone into something and then also feel like you can completely ask them for this and that. And then you won't feel happy when you have to be compromising when you don't want to compromise, just because you're trying to make them happy and to keep them happy. So you see, the worst part is that nobody can really be themselves in these types of relationships. A relationship that is built on inauthenticity is going to be flaky. That's why the foundation isn't strong. So I beg you to not be creating these types of relationships. And I was driving and I just remembered something that I think is also crucial to add to this. Sometimes when we hear from the other party that they want to take a break, they want to step back from the relationship, some people would react. Sometimes when we hear it directly, or sometimes when we sense it, some people will react by just keeping their distance. In response to what this person has told them, they angrily react by keeping their distance. Here is another thing that happens when you actually have a conversation, when you actually tell them. Here's another thing that happens when you actually tell them that you would love for this relationship to continue, but that you see that they seem to need some time. Right? Here's another thing that you can do. Sometimes some people won't even voice this to you. They won't tell you directly that they need some time or that they want off or out of this relationship. Sometimes you just sense it. You see it in the way that they're behaving. So what you do is that you have a conversation. You have a conversation by, maybe if they haven't voiced it to you, you have a conversation. For this type where the guy told her directly, sending that message to him, telling him that you would like for the relationship to continue, you'd love for the relationship to continue, but you are seeing that they need to step away. And that's okay. Your love is there, and if they need your help in any way, you are ready and willing to give it. And in the cases where you just sense it, you have this conversation, you let them know, because sometimes some people will just withdraw because they feel like, okay, this person doesn't want this relationship, so I'm just going to. So it's always best to communicate. Communication is key. It's always best to let that person know, this is what I see. It looks like you'd rather not have this relationship. You know, I do care for you, And I am now going to just step back so that you can resolve whatever it is that you have to resolve. And I will be here for you if you need me. So what this conveys is that if they really want this relationship, they know that it can come to you and then make it work, and it becomes something that belongs to both of you. And also, in case it is someone who is manipulative, who sees how much you care about them, what you convey when you say that is let them know that you are actually willing to let them go, to let go of them, because people want to sometimes test people. They want to see that they can hold you to ransom. And so you want to make it clear that you will not be kept here like a prisoner, that you're actually willing to let them go. You're willing to get on with your life without them. So that this way you don't keep negotiating with your sanity, because I had a conversation with someone a couple of days ago, and that's what she was doing. He looked like he was very unwilling to commit to this relationship, and he kept making demands on her, and she kept spending because she was very financially comfortable, and this man was leeching off of her. And after she'd give and give and give, he'd keep demanding and demanding and demanding. But if she had thought about it, she would have said, it looks like this guy does not want this relationship, or it looks like it's just my money he wants. And he's seeing that your response is doing more and more and more of something that you're already giving. You know, I've talked about this before. You don't do more and more of something that you're already doing that they're not happy with, because that isn't going to satisfy them. So when that happens, sometimes it's because someone is manipulating someone, and they can tell that now they have you by your hair, you know, and they can do with you whatever they want. And so that's why you need to let people know that you are ready to let go of them, and you should be ready to let go of them, because remember, you were made in the image of God. Somebody else is not going to be handling you and dangling you by your hair strands. You know, you're not going to be a puppet for someone else. We have to have respect for ourselves, for other people to respect us. Otherwise, they are not going to be happy with us, because they're going to see us as people that someone else outside of themselves will also be able to come and disrespect and do anything with, which means that the relationship is not safe, and they're not safe with you. So we must present ourselves as people that can be reliable and be trusted. And that begins with showing that you have respect and regard for yourself, so that they know that they're not with someone with whom they cannot have the trust that they are safe. Do you see how this all works together? Okay, I'm just going to add this piece because I remembered it on my way out, and I think that it's a crucial part of this conversation. And it also tells them that if they're going to get to keep you, they're going to have to behave. So if a person isn't behaving themselves, they get the message that this cannot go on like this. They're going to have to shape up. They're going to have to treat you right if they want this relationship to continue. So you see, in the case of that lady, instead of throwing more money at this guy, this is the message that she would let him have. And at this point, you're going to actually see their true intentions towards you. You're going to see if they are someone who can treat you right, because there is no point giving this person more and more to make them happy. And if they're just there to use you, then you know what happens is sometimes the person has this fixed idea about what your relationship is and what your function in their life is. And if you begin to play that role, it's like when I said in an earlier video that we have to watch the role that we pick and choose to play in a person's life. If you begin to play that role, then all of a sudden it's cast in stone that this is the role that you're playing in their life. And they have difficulty even shifting unconsciously and giving you a different role. You have to play that role, especially if you've already started playing it. And how dare you change what you're offering afterwards? So as soon as you see that there needs to be a change, you make sure that you get on that business and ask for that change. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in something that you don't like, and that's how people get stuck in struggle of. I know the first one of the messages that I'm going to read to you in the coming days, in the coming episodes, when I start reading them, it's really tough. But we must remember that we're called to be wise. And there is no wisdom in ignoring facts simply because we're afraid that we don't like what we see facing us. I'm going to be putting the links of two videos under this video. I want you to use those two videos to prepare yourself And maybe go back again and watch the other videos on this channel so that you're in the right mindset and have the proper foundation before we begin to delve into the revelations that I have for you. Starting, if I don't start today is Tuesday. If I don't start on Thursday, then at the most Saturday. If I don't post the two before I post this video, if I don't post those two links before I post this video, please do come back again to look under this video. At the most, by tomorrow, I would have posted those two links under this video, because you need to go watch those two in preparation for the revelations that I'm coming out with. I told you that we have to approach solving relationship problems differently. We do that by following the very tenets that have been given to us about relating with one another as human beings. And that tenet is to treat others as we would like to be treated. And you can see that in what I just explained to you in this video. If this person will treat that other person the way they would like to be treated, like consider the feelings and needs of the other person, not just of ourselves. Because in a relationship like this, what we're doing is that we think that we love them and we're doing this because we love them. Yes, that is true. But the bottom line is that we're doing this because we want to enjoy that love that we have for them, because it feels good to love and to show love. So we want to enjoy that. And then in doing that, we're throwing their own needs on the back burner. So then we turn around and start calling them selfish because they are not putting in as much. And that's why I keep stressing that when we're saying that someone is doing this and that to us, we should, if you really look closely, usually we will find that our problems stem from not living according to the tenets. Like in every situation, rather than looking at ourselves as victims, we should be looking at everybody involved as being important here. What are my needs here? What are their needs here? My needs aren't more important than theirs. Theirs aren't more important than mine. We both matter and the relationship matters. And so it means that at all times we're working towards the health of the relationship. And we're not mistakenly working towards only the health and fulfillment of our own needs. And once we keep that tenet in mind, things will be easier. Things will begin to be easier. And it also helps us to be authentic. The more authentic we are, the stronger and firmer the foundations of our relationships will be. And the fuller and the more authentic our relationships will be, because we'll be full and free and be able to express ourselves. And we actually know what the other person is thinking, and they know what we're thinking. And they know our strengths and weaknesses, and we know their strengths and weaknesses. And then we're agreeing together that we're going to work together on these things. There is nothing better than an authentic relationship, especially when it belongs to both of you. It is your property, it is your product. You look at it like it's your business, it's your company, and you both want its growth and flourishment, if there's a word like that. So I repeat that it is our refusal. I promise you, it is our refusal to do that which is the way that human beings should relate with one another that really is the true foundation of our relationship problems. And I keep saying that I am not blaming us. I keep saying that. The problem is that we didn't know and we didn't realize because we weren't taught to look at life in this way. We're just taught good and bad. And this is why that teaching is actually wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. We should be taking the very things that were given to us. But the thing is, we didn't know. We didn't know that the answer was right there all along. And it's so simple and so accessible that we overlook it. Because we weren't taught right about our true relationship with God and about our true relationship with other people. But guess what? I am you and you are me. Whatsoever you do unto the other comes back. So remember to go under this video to see the links that I leave under the video, the other videos that I want you to watch. And remember, I want you to send me a message, your message, if you've been in a situation like this, so that I can use your experience as well as one of the ones that I'll read. And yeah, watching those videos will help you to get ready, to prepare for us delving into solving relationship problems. I told you that we'll be solving them in a different way, because I told you that I don't want us to look at the way that everybody else out there just generally talks about relationship problems, looking at them as an enemy who is here to hurt me, to work against me. Because remember, everybody isn't just necessarily a wicked person who saw you and decided that they're going to come after you. Everybody is a person instead who has their own needs, and they're simply living the best that they can within their knowledge. So their knowledge might be limited and they're selfish, yes, but the bottom line is understand where this person is operating from. Once you understand where this person is operating from, then you'll understand better how to handle the relationship, and you will know when to subtract yourself and to exit something that is bad for you, and you will know when this person is operating from a place of selfishness. But you simply have to look beyond your own self and look beyond the surface so that you can look deeper into what is motivating this person in what they're doing. So that we're not solving problems on the surface, but we're looking into the root cause of whatever is going on with this person and why they are this way and why they're behaving this way. So once we understand that, then you know better how best to approach your relationship problems. That's it. All right, bye then, and see you in the next video.